He holds an MBA from Stanford, and his lifelong interests include literature, mythology, and psychology. Today, he's going to take us through the hero's journey in modern life. Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Bidlack.
So, Clash of the Titans. Anyone seen this movie? Is that a true story? Let me ask you. Do you know what this story is about? Medusa, yes. And Medusa has hair made of what? Snakes. And why snakes? She was a seductress. And in punishment for seducing someone, Athena gave her snakes for hair so that whoever she looked at would be turned to stone just from her expression, just from her face. The story has been told many, many times. And I asked my friend's girlfriend, is this a true story? She couldn't tell me. What do you guys think? Is it a true story historically? Did this actually happen? I love this crowd. Did Cinderella happen? So, do we argue about were the Three Little Pigs real or not? Like, oh, they grew up in Sweden, and the wolf was from Germany, and they were in this house, and here's the house right here. So is Santa Claus real? Of course he's real. Now, why would you ask that question? What happens if Santa Claus dies? So I was looking up, for this talk, I was looking up photographs, and I saw this photograph. I just had to put it in. Mostly what we do is the same as what he does, is we basically ignore that fact, and we just pretend, and it's much better when we pretend, is it not? So this is Joseph Campbell. He also wrote this book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And it's about all of the stories of the world that are really one story, one monomyth, if you will, even with different faces, with Athena, or The Matrix, or Wizard of Oz, or Alice in Wonderland. And they're all the same story, the hero's story. And that's what we're going to talk about, is the hero's story in your life now. So it has to apply to us now, otherwise we're not interested. The other thing that this book inspired was a 7-page memo written by Chris Vogler, who worked for Disney in the 80s. And he summarized this book in 7 pages, and here's the memo. And it went around Hollywood as sort of have-to-be reading by all agents and all writers, because it talks about the series of events in every great story, and therefore every great movie script. This is, you can see Four Weddings and a Funeral, Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, and Romancing the Stone. And then you can see the 12 stages of the hero's journey as mapped out by the book, and what happens in every one of these stories. And in Hollywood, one way to look at a script is, does it have the stages of the hero's journey in it? And the reason we want to have it in there is because we identify with heroes that have these stages, because it happens in our life every day. And that's what we're going to talk about more. So the first stage in this whole hero's journey is called the ordinary world, which is our world right now. But you're a little restless in it. The Matrix is not a place outside. The Matrix is a place inside you that you're caught up in, that keeps you limited from being free and pursuing the things you want to pursue. Follow the white rabbit. That's the next stage. That's called the call to adventure. What is your white rabbit? It might come on a screen. It might be a real animal. You know, in old stories, it used to be an animal that would lead you into the woods, and you'd follow the animal, and there would be your adventure after that. But nowadays, it has to be a modern white rabbit that you follow. It might be just an instinct. I want to start a business. I want to write a script. I want to write a poem. I want to speak at Mindshare. I want to start a business. I'm going to do the Derby dolls. I'm going to call myself Demo and start the Derby dolls. Right? How cool is that, by the way? 2 minutes. Yeah. The third stage, what's this from? Star Trek? Okay. Wizard of Oz. The refusal of the call. You refuse it the first time. You think of it and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm good. I'm too comfortable. So I'm going to refuse. The next stage is called meeting with mentors. What mentors do you know that are disguised differently? They don't look like a mentor, but they are, but you don't recognize it in your life. Right? And also, what mentor can you be for someone else going on their journey? The next stage is called crossing the threshold. This is a crossing the threshold, this event. It's one of the reasons I'm interested in this. These guys put on an event out of nowhere, thought of it, and they make it an event where people can cross over into thinking about new ways, right? How cool is this event? Seriously. That's the next stage. When you decide to go do something, you're gonna have enemies that you don't know about. There are gonna be wonderful energies out there that you don't know about that are gonna help you. You're gonna have people who try to trick you. All of that is part of this hero's journey. It happens in every single story we've ever had, ever. The next one is called The Approach to the Inmost Cave. This is another Wizard of Oz shot. The next one is The Ordeal. This is when you're facing Darth Vader with a lightsaber. Avatar, by the way, also follows the hero's journey exactly. The next stage is called Resurrection. Who is this? Han Solo. Carbonite, right? So he becomes resurrected. He died, right? And then he comes back later. Happens in all the stories, every single one. Why? It's a symbol for being reborn. Not maybe in a religious way, but in yourself. The last thing is you come back with something for the world, not just for yourself. Right? This is Alice in Wonderland. This is the script of the Tim Burton movie that's right out, where she comes back and she tells the truth to all the people when she comes back to the party. She tells the sister, stop lying. She tells the mother, don't worry, I'll do something with my life. She comes back with truth. That's enough. That's a hero. And then you come back to the ordinary world, this is Judy Garland's last scene where she wakes up and she's with her family. So I guess we'll stop there. I have a lot more, but that's the idea about the hero's journey. Thank you for having me. Any questions? You guys got it all figured out?
What's your favorite movie?
What's my favorite movie? Holy smoke. You know, I looked at the Wizard of Oz. I was standing in the bank the other day and they had the Wizard of Oz on, and I just let people go by me for about an hour. The Wizard of Oz on a small little black and white screen. That story gets me every time. So that's probably the latest one. Anything else? Yes, sir. Oh, what has been my arc? Wow, that's a long question. I would just say that I felt my whole life opened up when I read this book, and I realized that there are stories and mythologies throughout the universe, and that also each one of you is a universe. Each one of us. And all these stories speak to us now in our lives. And the hero's journey is not going to start off, maybe it is $1 million business. It might be the party that you got invited to that you don't want to go to. Can you be a mentor to other people on their journey? What calls to adventure are you ignoring? Go do your call and do it with nobility and help others with theirs. Thank you. Thanks, man. All right, brother.